Hey, it's Mr. P, Cooking School. Today I'm going to teach you to make pizza. So, start with making dough. So I have a jar of yeast, and I take about a tablespoon of yeast, and I put that in, and then get some sugar, and about a tablespoon, and maybe another half of sugar, and about a teaspoon of salt. I just pour it in my hand and throw it in. And then we need to put in some water. It needs to be pretty warm water. So I've heated up the water already. It's pretty hot. And I need like a cup and a quarter, 1 1/4 cups for the amount of dough that I'm making. I'm gonna make 3 pizzas, and unfortunately I need to make 2 batches of dough because I don't have a really big powerful blender or mixer. So I make 1 batch and then I set it aside and I make another batch. So I need to let the yeast work a little bit here in the warm water, and then I will mix it up here. So it's just sitting in there, it's getting soft, and then I'm gonna mix it around. And I gotta give it a little bit of time because the yeast needs to work. So I've let this sit for just a little bit and for the yeast and the sugar to dissolve. And so now I'm gonna put in probably a couple of tablespoons of oil. And then I have measured out 3 1/8 cups of flour, and I'm gonna put that in, and I'm gonna turn on the mixer. I started on low. Oops, it's not plugged in. That helps. I started on low. And I need to have a little paddle here, and I need to carefully, so I don't get hit by the mixer, knock the stuff off the sides so it all gets mixed in. And if the mixer would catch this, it would just pull it around and probably break it. But I'm careful, and I haven't broke one yet. All right, I'm gonna turn it up to the next setting, let it mix a little bit. If you wanted to make 2 small pizzas, this would probably be enough for 2 small pizzas. All right, I'm gonna check this out. It should be soft and just a tiny bit sticky to your hands. And then I'm gonna put this in a separate bowl, and I'm gonna make another batch. Okay, so I made a second batch of dough, and I'm gonna take the 2 of them and I'm gonna put them together. You can make dough without a mixer, because I made dough without a mixer for many, many years. I don't throw all the flour in at once, throw, little bits in and, work it around, and your hands will get all sticky, and, the dough will stick to your hands, and when it's done, like I said, it'll be soft. It'll be a little sticky. All right, so now I need to put the dough in the oven to rise. And so I just pour a small amount of oil in the bottom of the pan, and I'm just getting it oiled. I'm just moving around so that there's some oil on the outside of that. And then I take a damp towel, not a terry cloth towel because then the dough might rise up and stick to it, but take a damp towel and drape it over it. And I set this for as low as my oven will go, which is 170 degrees. And now I'm going to turn it off because I don't need it baking in there. I just need the oven to be warm. And I put it in there, and I'm going to set the timer for an hour. And then I have to punch it down. And we'll show you that when the time comes. Okay, it's been an hour. And I take this out. It shouldn't be hot. It's warm, but it's not hot. And it has risen so much, it is stuck to the cloth. So I gotta carefully take that off. And I literally punch it back down. I'm going to pull it off the sides of the bowl. And I'm going to cover it back up and let it rest for maybe another 15 minutes, and then I'll punch it back down again, and then maybe another 15 and punch it back down again. All right? All right. So I've let it rise and I've punched it down a couple of times. And you can see it's soft, it's gushy. Now, I need to work it a little bit to try to get some of the gases from the yeast out of it. So I'm going to work it around here. You see it's still just a little bit sticky. I think that's okay. And I just work it around for a little bit, and then I'll get the pans prepared to spread the dough out. Okay, so now I'm getting ready to make the pizzas. So I'm going to put some Crisco on each of the pizza pans so the pizza doesn't get stuck to the pan. And I just take a paper towel or a napkin, I guess it is, and get a little Crisco and smear it on the pan. And then I use a little bit of cornmeal, and I just sprinkle a little light coating onto the Crisco. And again, that helps it not stick to the pan, and when you're serving the pizza, it comes off nicely. All right, and now I'm ready to put the dough on the pans. All right, so I'm going to work it just a little bit more, and then I have to decide how much dough to tear off of here to put on each pan. So I usually take about, you're going to have to decide how much you put on each one, but I grab a bigger blob and do the large pan. I maybe left this a little bit too sticky. Sticking to my fingers. Sorry, I can't throw the crust up or the dough up in the air. I've tried, I've never been successful. And just start from the middle and push it to the outside. And just split what I got left in half.
many years have you been making pizza?
Oh, I have been making pizza for, I don't know, probably 23 years.
That's why you're so good at it.
One of my friends taught me to do it, and I've been making it probably 80% of the Fridays since then. All right, so off camera, I put maybe a half a stick of butter in the microwave for a little bit at a low temperature to melt the butter. And I'm going to take some garlic powder, and I don't measure it, I just pour, you know, a good bit into my palm, put it in, and some minced garlic, and pour some of that in. I probably would have put a little bit more in, but it was almost empty. And stir that up just a little bit. And then I take a brush and I brush the edges of my dough with the garlicky butter.
Is that optional?
This is optional. And I do each of these. I think it helps the crust crisp up just a little bit and gives it a little bit of garlic flavor. It's not, I don't usually get down into the middle of the butter here and pick up any of the minced garlic. I just am getting the butter that has a little bit of the dissolved garlic powder in it. All right, so I don't know whether you know